the different services agencies for being here today. The program will basically start with different organizations coming and say a few words to the community, to the media, so that we can get coverage in terms of what they think and what they believe is going on in the community, how it is affecting their organizations, their people. After that, different community leaders, different organizations will have the chance to say a few words, and if they have statements or suggestions, they will give it to the press as well. And then from there, if we have our elected officials, the reps are here, they'll come up and give their support and explanation in terms of how their offices are standing on this issue. Good afternoon, members of the press, elected officials, community leaders, and members of the Hmong and Lao community. Thank you, all of you, for coming here today on this important day. Your presence at this press conference is valued. There is a concerning and urgent issue that faces our Lao and Hmong communities. Recently, we have heard reports that the United States is negotiating with the Lao People's Democratic Republic government to allow the deportation of more than 4,000 plus Hmong and Lao refugees who have resettled and started a new life here in this country for decades. Some may have lived here nearly their entire lives. What the current administration has announced and their steps they took to initiate dialogues with the Lao PDR or Lao government has caused deep confusion, fear, and a sense of betrayal to the Hmong and Lao community. We worry that if the Trump administration has announced this campaign and it manifests into an agreement with the Lao government, it would be a devastation, detrimental to our community. We know that the U.S. government, especially the Trump administration, did a lot of good things for our community. However, we felt that more needs to be done, but not in this way. This would surely hit home here in the city of Fresno. This means that for some of us here, it would be ourselves or our brother, sister, friend, or neighbor who will fall subject to this deportation campaign. The deportees will be at risk, and for those families directly affected, it would mean family breakup and lives destroyed. And think about it, all of this just for part of so-called bilateral relations between Laos, a communist regime, and our country, the pillar of the world when it comes to freedom. Just a reminder, according to the U.S. Department of State reports, the Lao government, or Lao PDR, has an ongoing history of human rights abuse, human rights abuses such as unlawful police detention, secret abductions by police and military. Just to be short, since 1990s, the early 90s, there have been different waves of Hmong refugees, either forced repatriated or they went back voluntarily to Laos. Consequently, the vast majority disappeared at the hands of the Lao government. Only a small numbers were able to escape back out of Laos and are living in America today. Few are living in the valley. Others are in Wisconsin, Minnesota. And I have met them personally because I worked on the plight of the Hmong. Going back to the high-profile event or wave of refugee return to Laos, it was led by Mr. Hwm Vaj, who was a camp leader at that time. He left the camp with thousands of Hmong refugees, went back to Laos with the agreement of the Thai government, United Nations offices, and the Lao government. However, within a year, Mr. Hwm Vaj was nowhere to be found. And those refugees, we don't know where they are. Many of them, I'm sure, are dead. Laos has kept its door closed to the world, even after repeated requests by international bodies to go into Laos and to monitor these type of wave of refugees that have been repatriated. To this day, no true NGO outside bodies were able to go in and monitor the human rights situations in Laos. If the U.S. government or the Trump administration plans come to a reality, many members of our community members would be taken from our city neighborhoods right here and handed back to a long-awaited concentration camps or prisons of the Lao government. This is pretty much ironic. We left Laos when our country turned to hell because we fought for America. Our parents did. Many of the veterans and leaders here did. But now the question is, why are we, those 4,000, 5,000, going back to Laos? As a people that's being affected is for our local officials, whether in the city, in the county, in the Central Valley, in the state, and at national level, to hear our considered individuals so that we can put the ease in the... And that's our message today. And next I'm going to give the mic to my next speaker.
And thank you all for being here today. My name is Hwm Vaj. I'm the Executive Director for Lao Veterans of America, nationally headquartered here in Fresno, California. We are here today to voice our concerns, frustrations about the current events in relation to the Hmong and Lao people in the United States of America. Most notably here in the Central Valley. We are troubled to hear the recent talks between the United States and the Lao government about deportation of the Hmong people. Lao Veterans of America strongly oppose sending any Hmong persons back to the country of Laos, as this would deeply impact our community and the current administration, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Secretary of State to please reconsider, and this is why. The United States have been home to hundreds of thousands of Hmong over the past 4 decades. The United States and Hmong have always worked together in time of conflict and in peace. Let us not forget, during the American secret war in Laos, the United States established a secret special force in Laos to combat communism. They were led by the great General Vang Pao, but supplied and subsidized by the United States of America. These special forces were mainly Hmong freedom fighters who fought courageously with the United States and for the United States of America. Hmong combat veterans of the Vietnam War. They suffered heavy casualties and endured so many losses, all because they sided with the United States of America. Hmong are war-torn people. After Hmong living in the United States today, with approximately 100,000 being foreign-born, Hmong have resettled here in America and citizens of the United States. We continue to be allies with great loyalty. Our fathers have fought for freedom and democracy